How y'all doing this morning?
Better than you.
I am here at...
What's that? What is that?
The Madison County Courthouse.
Oh.
About to turn myself in. And look who's always with me. My dad.
Oh, okay.
My rider. Always. I hate this for him more than anything.
Me too.
Thing through it all is I've learned that I'm one of God's strongest soldiers.
Destiny Payton didn't walk into that interview with a prepared statement or a carefully crafted speech designed to soften the blow. She didn't tiptoe around the subject or speak in clever riddles that would leave people guessing. She opened with a sentence so blunt, so devoid of sugarcoating, that it felt like a physical blow to everyone watching. She was never a real friend. She didn't need to say a name. She didn't have to spell it out. Everyone watching, every single person glued to their screens, knew exactly who she was talking about.
You acknowledge it or not, it's some pain there. It really is. It's some pain for the loss of a relationship, because real talk, I was a real friend to you, and it went left. And last night was the first time I ever heard some of the things that you felt.
You didn't know that I wouldn't be okay with you still being friends with, getting off the phone with me to talk to somebody who's put me through hell.
You say that, and that's one time.
Melody. And just like that, years of sisterhood, of inside jokes, of laughing in each other's kitchens while their kids played in the background, started crumbling into dust right before our eyes. The friendship that had seemed so unshakable, so genuine in a world full of television fakery, suddenly looked like a house of cards that had finally collapsed.
Me personally, never have rolled that way. I don't know how I feel 30 years from now, but I'm just playing, but never have rolled that way. So Destiny, stop playing with me and lying, because at this point now you really coming for my character. Baby girl, you could have never, maybe you could have him, maybe you did, I don't know, but don't be talking about you could have had me, because no, you couldn't. Because I personally don't roll that way. Now I know some of the folks you rock with do and have, and we gonna talk about it on TikTok Saturday. I know that. But baby girl, you ain't never known me, even all the time you were around me, them 2 years, you've never known me to rock that way. Stop playing with me. So your little confession sometimes you could have had, let's be clear, you could have had him and me. No baby girl, you never could have, because I don't roll that way.
This wasn't the kind of drama that explodes overnight. It wasn't a sudden betrayal caught on camera or a single explosive argument that tore them apart. No, this was something far more painful. It was a slow burn, a gradual unraveling that you don't really notice until it's too late to repair the damage.
For the way to have time, just like you, when we were at the reunion and was asked, how is your relationship now with Melody? Your response was, I don't know. I haven't talked to her since we wrapped.
To the outside world, Destiny and Melody were the definition of loyalty. They were two women navigating the choppy waters of life together, weathering business moves, painful divorces, and messy cast feuds side by side. On screen, they were inseparable. They laughed at each other's jokes, defended each other against critics, and spoke about each other like they were sisters from another mother. They showed up for each other's business launches, shouted out each other's beauty brands, and made it seem like nothing in the world could ever drive a wedge between them. It was the kind of friendship we all wish we had. But as always, people started whispering when the signs began to appear. At first, it was subtle, the kind of stuff only the most eagle-eyed fans would notice. The Instagram tags stopped, the cute comments on each other's photos vanished, there were no more girls' night pictures, no more playful banter in the comment sections. Then came the silence, and finally, the unfollow. And in the world of social media, the unfollow is the equivalent of a public breakup. It's the digital equivalent of saying, "We're done." Still, even with all the evidence piling up, nobody was truly ready for Destiny to speak the way she did on that live stream. What made the whole thing sting even more was that Destiny hadn't been messy from the start. She had kept her mouth shut for months, maybe even years, letting the public form their own opinions while she remained silent in the background. But everyone has a breaking point. For Destiny, that moment came when she realized that her silence was actually working against her. People were filling in the blanks with their own stories, and none of them were flattering. She was being painted as the bitter ex-friend, the jealous one, the one who couldn't handle the spotlight Melody was getting. So she decided to tell her truth. According to Destiny, the friendship that fans saw on TV wasn't the reality behind closed doors. She claimed that Melody's warmth and loyalty were strictly for the cameras. When the cameras stopped rolling, the real Melody emerged. Text messages went unanswered for days, phone calls were never returned, and invitations to important events simply stopped coming. And for Destiny, the pain wasn't about likes, reposts, or clout. It was something far deeper than that. She told the interviewer about a personal moment she shared with Melody, a moment where she opened up about something raw and deeply private. It wasn't for TV ratings, it wasn't for a storyline, it was one woman opening her heart to another in complete trust. But somehow, bits of that private pain started slipping out into the world, not as a huge on-screen blow-up, but in little ways, subtle digs at cast gatherings, offhand remarks at parties, conversations that hinted at things she had only ever shared in confidence. Destiny didn't name Melody outright as the source. She didn't have to, but the implication was crystal clear. Someone she had trusted with her most vulnerable secrets hadn't protected that trust, and that was the moment the picture shifted for her. She stopped seeing Melody as her sister and started seeing her as just another co-star, someone playing a role for the cameras while hiding their true self behind a smile. But the story didn't stop there. The day after Destiny's interview went viral, Melody went live on social media. She didn't mention Destiny by name, but her words were sharp as knives. She started talking about how some people only show up when it benefits them. She talked about outgrowing fake loyalty and choosing peace over drama. On the surface, it sounded like a motivational speech about self-care, but fans knew it was shade. And just like that, the internet exploded. Suddenly, everyone was picking sides. It was Team Destiny versus Team Melody. Comment sections became war zones, with fans passionately defending their favorite. Castmates started liking shady posts on Instagram. Reunion specials instantly became must-watch television. But Destiny insisted this wasn't about stirring drama. She said it was about taking control of her story before others twisted it beyond recognition. Melody, however, wasn't used to being cast as the villain. Her entire image was built on being strong, loyal, and above the petty drama that usually consumes reality TV. Destiny's statement didn't just bruise her brand, it cracked the way her fans saw her. Still, Melody stayed calm. Her responses were vague but pointed, a masterclass in controlling the narrative through silence. But silence only works until the other voice gets too loud, and right now, Destiny's voice was everywhere. In follow-up interviews, Destiny didn't soften her claims. She accused Melody of having conditional kindness, showing up when cameras were rolling or when it helped her image, but disappearing when it really mattered. Off-camera, Destiny felt like a prop, valuable when needed, discarded when not. Fans started digging through old footage, analyzing past episodes with fresh eyes. Little moments they once thought were harmless now felt intentional and calculated. The way Melody sometimes spoke over Destiny, redirected conversations, or offered quick on-screen support, but rarely mentioned her outside of group scenes, all of it started to look like a carefully constructed performance. Destiny also pointed to business promises that never materialized. She claimed Melody had pledged to promote her beauty line to her massive audience, but barely mentioned it. For someone who once claimed to be her sister, that silence cut deep. One moment in particular stuck with fans, a reunion taping where Destiny was under heavy criticism from other cast members. She expected Melody to defend her, but instead Melody stayed quiet, her body language cold and detached. At the time, it seemed like nothing. Now, with fresh context, it felt intentional. Melody's camp didn't stay quiet either. Friends and allies posted about loyalty and protecting your peace without using names. Cast members liked shady comments, reposted cryptic quotes, and made vague statements about people not appreciating your light. It was the kind of quiet online warfare that reality TV thrives on. But Destiny didn't claim she was perfect. She admitted there were times she could have communicated better or been more present. But she stood firm in her belief that she gave her friendship completely, only to receive something filtered, curated, and sometimes transactional in return. And that is the real tragedy here. By now, fans were piecing the timeline together. The decline wasn't sudden, it had been happening for a while. Less joint appearances, less excitement when they were together, and an overall shift in their energy. Destiny's claim that Melody was performing for the cameras no longer sounded outrageous to many. But through all the noise, one thing was missing: Melody's raw, unfiltered truth. No subtweets, no cryptic captions, just her side of the story. Until that came, fans could only speculate, because in reality TV, perception is everything. Right now, Destiny held the microphone. But at the heart of it all, Destiny insisted this wasn't about teams, gossip, or even revenge. For her, it was about truth, finally telling her side, no matter how messy it sounded. She said in the past, she would have kept quiet. She would have smiled for the cameras and swallowed the hurt just to keep the peace. But peace that costs you your dignity isn't peace at all. It's just silence dressed up as loyalty, and she's done with that. Her decision to speak out wasn't easy. She knew people would question her, call her bitter, or say she was clout chasing. She knew she'd risk being painted as the difficult one, the jealous friend, or the villain in someone else's story. But she also knew the weight she'd been carrying, the loneliness, the confusion, the feeling of being erased from a world she once felt a part of. She described moments that stung more than any headline: showing up to an event and realizing she wasn't on the guest list anymore, hearing about group trips only after seeing the pictures posted online, watching alliances form while she was left on the sidelines wondering what she had done to deserve it. These weren't just TV moments, they were real-life cuts that left real scars. Meanwhile, Melody's approach has been a masterclass in controlled messaging. No angry outbursts, no emotional breakdowns, just carefully chosen words and polished appearances. Her social media stayed on brand: business updates, motivational captions, and pretty photo shoots. To her supporters, this was grace under fire. To her critics, it was a way of dodging the hard questions. And those hard questions kept coming. If Destiny's claims were false, why not address them directly? Why not look the camera in the eye and set the record straight? Instead, Melody's silence became its own kind of statement, one that spoke just as loudly as Destiny's interviews. The producers saw the tension building, and they knew exactly how to use it. Teasers for the upcoming season showed Destiny and Melody face to face in what looked like a raw, emotional showdown. Fans froze the clips, analyzed every eyebrow raise, every half smile, every tear. But reality TV editing can turn 2 seconds of footage into a whole storyline. The real truth would only come out when viewers saw the full, uncut exchange. That moment, 2 women who once called each other sisters finally addressing the fracture between them became one of the most anticipated scenes in the show's history. It wasn't just about drama anymore. People wanted answers. They wanted to know how something so strong could fall apart so completely. Destiny says she's not looking for revenge or even reconciliation. She's looking for freedom, the kind you feel when you stop pretending something is still whole when it's been broken for a long time. If people believe me, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine too, she said. I didn't speak up for them. I spoke up for me. What began as quiet heartbreak has turned into public healing, And whether Melody ever shares her unfiltered truth or not, one thing is certain: this friendship, once celebrated as real and unshakable, will now be remembered as one of reality TV's most talked about breakups. For Destiny Payton, closing this door isn't the end of her story. It's the start of the part where she finally gets to walk through a new one without looking back. She's reclaiming her voice and her peace, even if it means walking away from the person she once trusted most. And maybe that's the real victory, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop chasing people who were never really running with you in the first place. Sometimes the strongest move is walking away and not looking back. Thanks for watching, fam. Stay real, stay respectful in the comments, and remember, sometimes silence isn't peace, it's preparation. See y'all in the next video.